Okay, drone pool here. I have my receiver installed. I have my buzzer back here, my LED. I just have a piece of tape holding it for now, so it's not jostled around. That's not a permanent mount, but we'll get to that. So I'm just ready to plug this in to see if these power up, and then we'll go from there. So plug in the battery. So my LED on the back and buzzer is working. I have a little red light on my receiver, so it's all good. Sweet. Okay, so this is what I think I'm going to do. I was going to go over the binding process with the QX7, but I'm not going to do that. There's better videos out there than what I could do anyhow. Go to Blue Falcon's channel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tuck all this stuff in, get everything put back in, try and get the camera, the top plate, all that to where it's done. I have my receiver bound to my transmitter, and then we'll go into Betaflight and we'll set up the switches, and then that should wrap everything up and we'll be ready to maiden. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to try and clean all this up, get the camera in, and just get everything neat and tidy, and then we'll go from there. Alright? Okay, I'll be back in a few. Or a second. You know what I mean. Alright, I'll be back. Drone pool here. Okay. I got everything tucked away, got the camera installed, which I'm glad for. Have my receiver installed, bound to the radio. Got my beeper here in the back. I'm going to go through and figure out how to turn the LEDs off. I don't want those on while I'm flying, because it's going to take away from the battery. But I may configure it to where it just flashes when I hit the beeper button if I'm looking for it. Other than that, I'll turn the LEDs off. VTX is ready to go, so we're ready to connect to Betaflight and set up the switches in my Tyrannus, which I've really already done that. I was trying to do a video last night and I kind of got confused, and then I got it figured out again. So I just went ahead and set the switches already, but I'll just go back in there and show you how I do it. Oh, and another thing, once I got this all configured and set up, I had a motor 2 wasn't spinning with the rest of the motors, and there's a way to calibrate the motors in Betaflight, and which is really easy. And once I did that, everything's fine. So really, right now, it's ready to maiden, but it's snowing outside. I'm supposed to get 3 inches. But let's go ahead and we'll connect this to Betaflight, and I'll show you my setup, and we'll go from there. Okay, we are going to connect to Betaflight. I'm going to hit connect. Okay, setup. I have not calibrated the accelerometer yet. And this needs to be really, really level when you do it. And what I'm doing is not the best way to do it, but it's better than nothing. Okay. So we'll go to ports. It's already preset in the flight controller, so I don't do anything with the ports. Okay, configuration.
I don't have my paper. Let me see, do I? Anyhow, okay, my ESCs support 1-shot 125, D-shot 100, D-shot 300, but they do not support D-shot 600. So I'm just leaving it on 1-shot 125 for now. Okay, motor. Okay, no, motor stop. If you do that, the motors will not start up when you arm it. But if you leave it like this, when you hit the arming switch, your motors will start spinning. So that's how I use it. And I'm not going to mess with any of this right now here. I can change this to 8. I thought I did already. I don't have a name figured out for this yet. So right now I'm just calling it blue. I'm going to leave this at 25. This is the angle that you have to at least be at this angle to get it to arm. So if you're sitting on the side like this, let's say 45, it's not going to arm because it's set for like 25. But you can change this to 180 and you can arm it whenever. But I'm going to just leave that like that. You want to keep this a serial based receiver. S-Bus, since I'm using the S-Bus receiver, the FR Sky XM Plus receiver. So you keep that at S-Bus. I'm just going to leave all this the way it is. I'm not using D-Shot. Beeper. See, this is all stuff you can fine tune later. I'm just trying to get it to where I can get it to fly. Oh. Okay. I don't do nothing on this page. PID tuning. Okay, I'm going to change a few things here. Okay, the RC rate, I'm going to change to 75. Okay, I'm going to leave the super rates at 70, I believe. Keep on my notes. No, actually, I'm going to move them up to 75 also. Okay, the RC Expo, I'm going to move up to 30.30. Now, if you want to know more about the rates, super rates, Blue Falcon's got an excellent video on it. Okay, I use my mid throttle at 0.45, and you want to set this to, well, whatever you want, but I set it to 0.30. Okay, got it. Remember, every time you leave a page, hit save, or it's not going to save your. Okay, did I hit save? Okay, receiver. Okay, channel map. If you're using S-Bus, TAER 1234. If you're using Spectrum or something else, it's going to be different. FlySky. This is for S-Bus. I usually don't mess with any of this. Now, one thing that has helped me is setting my endpoints, but I'm not going to go into that. again, I'm going to refer you to Blue Falcon. I follow his steps in setting endpoints. It helps keep the quad from drifting. Okay, let's go into modes. Okay, I got to turn on my TX.
Welcome to OpenTX.
Okay, now, okay, I already have my model selected, blue. Okay, now, from at default, this will be set to auto, but you want to set it to auxiliary 1. And this is my auxiliary 1. This is my arming switch. So right now, if you see the gold bar, if this little gold dot is not under that, then it's not activated. So I'm going to flip my arming switch to on and see how that yellow dot is now under this yellow bar. That means now the switch is set to arm. Okay, off. Okay, angle mode. Make sure it's at excuse me. Make sure it's at auxiliary 2. And this is my auxiliary 2 switch. This is a 3-position switch. Okay, if it's in the uppermost position, that's my stabilized or angle mode. And you can see that dot is right in that area. If I would have had it like this, I would not be in angle mode. Okay, so you can move these things over to where that dot's covered. Now, you go down to horizon mode, and it has to be auxiliary 2 because this is still auxiliary 2. Now I'll move this down to the middle position, and you can see how that dot is underneath this bar right here. And this dot is not. So right now this is horizon mode. Now there is no acro mode per se on the modes. What Betaflight does is when you flip this down to your 3rd position and neither one of these dots are covered by an orange bar, that means you're in acro mode. Okay. Now, beeper. This is my beeper button right here. Okay. So right now the beeper is off. This is a spring-loaded switch. So when I move the switch up to activate the beeper, this dot should fall in this range right here. So if I do that, see how that dot moves over underneath the yellow bars? That means the beeper is activated. Okay. Now I only have 4 switches, so that's auxiliary 3. You go down to auxiliary 4. Okay, this is also a 3-way switch. I use this for air mode. And if it's in the top position, you can see that it's not covered, so it's not in air mode. But when I set it to the middle position, it's covered by this orange bar, which means it's in air mode. And if I go down to the bottom, it just turns it back off. Okay, so that's that. It's really simple once you do it a couple times. So right now, everything is good to go to try and power it up with a battery and make sure it all arms and everything. But we'll do that in a minute. Okay. Turn the transmitter off. Now I said something earlier about once I got this bound to my transmitter, this motor would not spin correctly or not in unison with all the other ones. So I calibrated them in Betaflight. I'm going to show you how to do that right now. It's real easy. Okay, you just go to the motors tab. You go down here. You have to click this button saying you understand the risk and the props are off and all that. Okay, so to calibrate the motors, you take the master switch and move all the motors up top. Okay. Now at this point, you plug in your battery, and it's going to make a series of tones. You hear those tones? Okay, when it stops, you bring this all the way down, and it makes some more tones. When it does that, your motors are calibrated. Easy peasy. Okay, now I'm going to disconnect. We should be good to go. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to turn my transmitter back on.
Welcome to OpenTX. Switch warning.
That's what I like about this radio. If you got to switch out of place, it tells you. And I've got like 7 birds connected to this. Okay, so I have my quad selected, blue. I'm going to plug in the battery. Okay, now, if everything's right, I should flip this switch and all the motors should start spinning. Let's see what happens. There they go. Well, they sound nice. Okay, I'm going to disarm. Shuts it off. Alright, so this bird's ready to fly. At least maiden flight. Yeah, so I'm ready to give it a test. The only problem, it's snowing outside. Yeah, we're going to get like 3 inches today. So that's going to have to wait for another day. But this is how you do it. I hope this helps somebody. Yeah, I'm anxious to go out and give it a go. I really am. Once you do 1 or 2 and you get the hang of building it, they're not that bad. Especially every time you do one, you learn something. Okay. And Betaflight can be confusing at first, but it's the same with that. Once you do it a couple times, you get the hang of it. It's really not as daunting as it appears. I thought it was going to be a very daunting process early on. Once I did it a little bit, I can see it's not too bad. So, like I said, if I can do it, anyone can. So, this bird's ready to fly, or at least give it a test anyhow. Too bad it's snowing outside. But as soon as I get a chance, I'll get her in the air and we'll see how she does. Alright? Alright, this has been a long video, so this is Drone Pool. I'm going to sign out. Peace.